Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As you can see, there's snow on either side of me. It snowed about 8 inches last night, and unfortunately, I have not done a lot to the Z since the last videos. You saw me working on the water coolant system and then as well the fuel system, which I've got most of the way done, but there is one final piece I still have to do, and I will get into that in just a second. Now, at the end of the last video, I did ask if you guys wanted to send me pictures of your cars. No one did it. I want to make review videos of your cars. As you guys know, this thing is getting pretty close to getting sent off to fabrication. I need something to do while it's gone. Hit me up on Instagram, put it right here, and send me pictures and videos of your cars. Do it. Do it or I'm going to end your family. And while I'm at it, guys, make sure you dislike and unsubscribe. It helps me out a lot. Alright, I just went inside to make some hot chocolate. I didn't heat up the milk, so basically it's just lukewarm chocolate. So yeah, I'm not very smart. And speaking of not smart, I need to show you guys something. Oh, this was an accident, but I'll go ahead and start filming. I need this, and this. Here's my problem, right? So there's a hole in my fuel rail, right? I don't know if I showed this on camera, but this is what I had fixed up last time, right? Give me like 5 light years to spin this in. So I had an NPT fitting, and then a female to female, and then a male to female, and then I put the damper inside of that, right? So I was like, yeah, that'll probably seal, but it's so far away from the rail, it probably won't get any fuel pressure, so it's useless, right? I ordered this off Amazon. It's just a NPT to female 8AN. I'm struggling to get it in a hole, like usual, and that would go right there, right? But then I had a problem. This doesn't have like the beveled bull nose on the end of it, like what that's designed to have. You can see that it kind of angles inward. And so when the bull nose hits that, actually, let me go grab the other one again. You can see this side is wiggling, right? This is the bull nose. So it's designed to basically create a tight seal inside of there, spin it together, tight as I can get it by hand, no more wobble on either side. And since this doesn't have a bull nose, and this is designed to fit over something with a bull nose, screw it all the way down to the base, still wobbles. So long story short, I know this is not going to hold fuel pressure, it's just going to start spraying out. Basically, I need to find another option in order to get this to work the fuel rail. I don't know if I said this in the last couple of videos, but this is designed specifically for radium fuel rails. I don't have one, so obviously it's not going to work. But what they make is a piece on here that detaches. You take this clip ring off, this pops off. This is an 8AN fitting. They make a 3/8, I believe, NPT fitting. So I'll probably get that and do a 3/8 to female 3/8 to 1/4 male, and that should thread down. It'll look like this on the very end. It'll be extended kind of far, but if it works, it works, you know? And now that I've gotten through the bad news, let me tell you more bad news. So the lower radiator hose still doesn't exist. I have kept looking, I've looked online, I cannot find anything but like one of those weird looking slinky tubes, and it's never the same on one end or the other. Or it always is the same on one or the other. I don't know what I was thinking. It's always the same size on both ends. But I need one side larger and one side smaller, and I would have to like make a bunch of different pieces and components work. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is gonna buy 2 couplers, one for the water pump, one for the radiator, and then when the car goes to fabrication, I'll have him make the lower tube out of aluminum, and that should solve that, and it'll get taken care of along with all of the intercooler pipes. And speaking of the intercooler, later in the video, we're gonna get to that too, but I do wanna show you the progress I made on the fuel system that I didn't include in the last video, because that's important. You guys need to see that. Okay, so oh, this is terrible picture quality. I'm so sorry. Oh, this should be better. Please focus. All right, so there's a fitting there. You see that? So there's a hard line that goes from the bottom of the, or the top of the fuel tank actually, then comes underneath. So what I did is I cut that there. I put like a little hard line flare. It's kind of what they use for like brake line. Drilled that out, learned that the threads on that were actually the same as 6AN. So I reused this PTFE 6AN fitting and then just plugged the hose onto there. But I do need to show you a couple of pictures because we had to finagle some stuff to get that to work. There's actually a nylon washer in there and then another washer as well to kind of seal it up, since this doesn't have like the bull nose or like the 45-degree angle to seal against the inside of this. And then basically threaded this nut as far down on here as we could get it with some Teflon tape. So that should seal, but if it does leak, it's in a spot of the car where I'm not gonna have to worry about fires. So that's great. We'll see how that holds up. Anyways, that goes underneath this plastic tray. And then right on the other side of the plastic tray, there's a piece of metal here. And then right there's the fuel filter. So I just took 2 brackets, put them here and here, put a couple of inserts in the bottom of the frame rail, bent them upwards around the fuel filter, put another fitting there, just ran it up, another clamp to match that side, then it goes straight up, over that direction, comes around the back here to the bottom of the fuel rail, just runs underneath all the way up to the front and connects right there. So fuel sending system is done. Let's go. All right, now you might be wondering, what is the point of this video? Jacob, why the hell are you posting trash like you always do? Well, the reason I'm making this video is because there's a couple of things I can do. I need to start putting the car together in some way, shape, or form. So obviously, I can't have the bumper on when the intercooler is getting put together. So I figured I'd focus on super easy things like headlights and bash bar. Super simple. You can actually see that it's sitting on the car right now because basically I'm getting ready to figure out how I'm going to fit my intercooler up there and how I'm going to fit my fans in there. So that's what this video is about. First and foremost, I think I'm going to start with the headlights, taking the ballast off the old headlights, putting them on the less old headlights, and then putting them on the car. Let's go. All right, I'm scared of dropping both of these, but as you can see, this one is very crusty, and this one's actually kind of clear. They're both 03 headlights, but these are in much better condition, so I'm gonna swap the original headlights out with these guys, but the ballasts are on the old headlights, so I just gotta take those off, bolt them on the bottom of these. These have all new LED bulbs inside of them as well, so they're gonna shine a lot brighter as well. So, dialogue, yes. I literally just looked that footage over, and you can't even really tell the difference between the two. So, look at all that haziness right there, where it's not super clear. If I can get the light right, maybe you'll see all the tiny like imperfections and cracks in this one. You can kind of see them. It is not the nicest lens on this headlight, especially up there at the top. Hello, fellow snow enjoyer. This lens literally has one imperfection, and it's literally right there in the center of the beam. You can see it. There's just a scratch on top. Other than that, this thing's like ultra clear. It only has slight haze. That's kind of why I'm replacing them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have noticed a very large issue. I'm sorry if there's a lot of glare right now. I'm standing right next to my ring light, but after spending like 30 minutes taking apart both headlights, I realized this isn't gonna work. Let me show you why. So apparently, and this is news to me, there are two different versions of the early model 350Z headlights. Most of you know that you have an early gen, which is like a high intensity discharge, and then you have a later gen, which is by HID. So it has two high intensity discharge, and it looks different from the DE version of the 350Z to the HR. What I didn't know is that they have two versions of the early model light, which is HID and halogen, and then just, I think it's dual halogen. So this does not have the ballast like this one does. This is what basically starts the bulb on the high intensity discharge, whereas obviously it's missing. Now, thanks for being loud. Now, this has a hole in the middle of this on this one here that all the connections go through. So I was thinking, well, maybe this one just didn't have that cut out. And when I actually disconnected everything and then got onto the inside, I realized that someone had put an LED bulb inside of this one. And I was like, oh, well, I can just take that out and then put the high intensity discharge bulb in the ballast, cut the little hole there, call it good, right? But no, this has a completely different clip. It's a single clip here, whereas this one, it has a completely different clip here, and underneath that, the bulb has a completely different thing that it sets into. So like this has one small groove for the LED bulb or whatever halogen bulb was there before to sit into. This has like 3 different prongs in a circle. It's got a larger hole for the little rod on the halogen or on the HID bulb. It's completely different. So cutting this up and making this work to fit that bulb would be completely useless. So now I have basically another dead set of headlights to me. These are probably going to get rid of. I might throw these up for sale soon, which is honestly pretty unfortunate because I was looking forward to putting those on. They actually look decent, unlike my old headlights, and they actually worked on the other dude's car that I bought them from, unlike the Bulboost Performance headlights I bought specifically for this one. And if you don't know what those are the ones with the LEDs. If you go clear back to my first video, the thumbnail of my 350Z actually has those headlights on it, and if you want to know why they suck, I might be making a video on that soon because it looks like I might have a headlight project coming up here pretty soon. I also completely forgot to mention probably one of the most important things about the difference is that they have a completely different connector for the headlights, or they have a completely different connector for the HID versus the halogen ones. So this is the, I believe halogen is what they would call this one. I have to look it up still. You guys might want to correct me in the comments, but that's a 6-pin connector. And then on the high intensity discharge, there's an 8-pin connector. which I know it's very dark, but you can see the 8 little pinholes there for it. Not the 6 holes in the middle, but the 8 spots around those. So unfortunately, that is not going to be as simple as a plug and play. I am literally going to have to either reuse the really crappy old headlights or basically custom make something entirely new that'll work for the car with the 3 sets that I've got. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to swap all the bulbs, because there's a few decent LED bulbs that came with the headlights I bought from the other guy. They're reusable because the connectors for both of the harnesses are the same on the headlights, minus the part that actually connects to the car and to the HID or the halogen bulb. So I could probably just swap all the bulbs over, and then what I could do, if it's not too crazy, is I can find a way to redo the LEDs in my first set of headlights that I bought and make them do the switch back and actually last more than 3 months. We will see. Alright, since I realized that it's going to be a complete and utter fail to try and, put headlights on the car as of right now, I guess I'll just move on to what else I wanted to talk about, and that was the intercooler. So, flash bar, right? Where's the intercooler going to go? Same spot, underneath, behind it, in front of it? Well, it doesn't really fit in there with fans, so let me try to rig something up so I can show you exactly what the problem is. Okay, so this is the current problem. If we have enough light, you can see that the intercooler is touching there and there, and that leaves a nice, about an inch wide gap right there. So when I say nice, I'm being sarcastic because I don't want that there. There's like no room back here. I know it looks like a black abyss right now, but the fans need to go between this and that. I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll attach the fans to the back of this guy. I'll show you kind of what my plan is later. But as you can see here, Sharpie. So I'm gonna notch this thing right where it lines up with the brackets. That way I can push this forward about an inch and make more room in the back for the fans. Let me just take a second to appreciate how cool an intercooler looks on a 350Z. These things should have been turbo from factory. Then I wouldn't be putting a 2J in here. All right, so this is the fan I have acquired. And as you can see, that fits relatively well right there. And actually you can't see the other side, but it is just in line with this lip over here. Now obviously normally these things get mounted so that the back side of the fan is facing the radiator, but I don't really have that option because I kind of have to stuff this between an intercooler and the core support, and it doesn't really fit over there with the AC condenser and the fact that one side of the core support is larger versus smaller. Anyways, this is kind of my plan. So I believe that this fan is reversible. It has 2 different things here, and depending on what you send positive and negative to, it will reverse which direction the fan blows. So my plan here is to have the fan blow this direction, and although that's not the most efficient way to use a fan, typically you would want your fan to pull the air from the back side versus pushing it in through the front. That's kind of what I have to succumb to make this work without cutting everything up and starting over. So anyways, the plan is to get this to blow air backwards, and really what I'm thinking, hopefully this will be able to see it, is that this mount here, I can put a bracket across all the way and then kind of mount it to the core support somewhere. And then whatever bracket I use here, I can do other brackets that come off and go down flush with the front of this, and then have like hardware coming outward that these bolt to. It might be a really tight fit, but I think I can make it work. This is a really awkward thing to do. I'm like squatting like a chicken right now. Anyways, I'm gonna try and cut one of these. So I marked everything off with tape around my Sharpie, of course, and you might see this blue line here, and you might be thinking, why is there a blue line in the middle of the spot he's gonna cut out? If you don't know how this is structured, it's got a line or a rib all the way through the center that basically divides the bar into 2. If I were to just cut straight across here, it would still be stuck in place. So what I'm gonna have to do is cut this way, and then like just outside this blue line, so I can remove this piece and this piece as part of the skin, and then I can go in there and grind down the rib that's on the inside. So I'll do this one side, and then we will see how it goes. Safety first. I can't see fucking shit out of this thing. Oh. Haha. Okay, it is now a couple days after the last clip. The bar is cut, but I made some extra progress as well with the help of my dad. Let me just show you what's going on. So if we walk out here, you can actually see that the intercooler is on the car. I've got the bumper out here because I was kind of like test fitting that, but it's attached to the car finally. Drilled a couple of holes, gonna put some nutserts in there, and then I'll have a couple of brackets that go from the nutsert to the intercooler, and that should hold it in place. This thing was a royal pain in the ass to actually cut because, you know, there's not only a top layer and then a side angle there that you have to cut, there's also this rib in between that's there for reinforcement. So we basically had to take a cutoff wheel, go this direction, and then take a Sawzall and cut off that center layer there, going that direction. But you can see there's brackets holding the intercooler up now. Use these spacers to kind of just evenly space it away from the bar. There's a bolt holding it in with a nutsert to the bar itself, and then these brackets we kind of just found, and they have a pretty even space from, how do I say this? The distance from there to the bottom of the bracket is almost identical here to here. So basically it's the perfect size and holds it at just the right height level. I hear an IS-300 coming. This is how I greet my brother, guys. Now, I still do have to do the lower brackets for the intercooler, but I'm not too worried about that. It'll probably just be the same process of finding something that's close or making a new part from scratch. It's not that difficult. Anyways, here's another second of just admiring what this thing is with an intercooler. It just looks so cool. And speaking of cool, I figured I'd wait another day until it was a little bit brighter so I could actually show you guys what it looks like with the bumper on. And to be completely honest, I'm really happy with it. I'll actually grab the camera so I'll show you how close it is. You can actually see that it is just barely clearing. Like it looks like it's touching, but it's not on both sides. Shifted slightly that direction because I can kind of see part of the red coupler thing, or that's covering the end of the intercooler. It might just be that the bumper's not center since it's not bolted on all the way. Looking from the top down, there's like all kinds of room back here for fans now. I personally cannot wait to see what people are gonna say when they see this thing. They're probably gonna see the intercooler and be like, oh, it's boosted. And then I pull up and open the hood and they're gonna freak out. At least I hope they will. I'll be freaking out. I'll probably be crying when this thing's finally running and driving. Anyways, now that the car's at the point it is, it's basically this close to going off the fabrication. And I'm probably gonna do most everything off camera that needs to be done until then. So like I said earlier, 2 brackets on the bottom of the intercooler to hold it completely in place. And then I might start messing with the fans, like I said. If I got enough room and I can find a bracket that'll work, I'll bolt the fans to the back of the intercooler. And then basically the only thing after that is a couple of things in the engine bay, and I believe I went over that in one of my last videos. So over there is the old power steering reservoir. That's going to come out. The windshield washer fluid reservoir is going to have to come out. So that's the blue cap over here. And then inside the bumper there's also a tank. That's going to have to get relocated because all the tubing for the intercooler is going to come from that guy there, route down into the bumper. There's going to be some cutting and all that stuff. So I just got to remove a couple of things, do those lower brackets, maybe the fans, and then it can get sent off. So technically speaking, as of this video, this car is ready to go off the fabrication. Hopefully you heard that over that loud ass car that drove right behind me. So I'm really excited that it's basically ready. If you guys are excited, you should let me know down in the comments, or if you absolutely hate everything you've watched in the last 10-20 minutes. I don't know how long this video is. Also let me know, because I like laughing at me in comments. And obviously, if you guys want more content, make sure to dislike and unsubscribe from the channel. That would be great. And like always, make sure to have a great rest of your day. Peace out. I will see you guys in the next video.